guys, Penny here, and I just thought I would take an opportunity today to show you something that we get asked really frequently. So what that is how to use white pigment to do a baby boomer nail. A baby boomer is a fade from white to pink. Some people call it a frambre, a French ombre, but either way it is a fade. It's a new, like a different way of doing French that isn't the stark white line. So to do that, I usually recommend working with pigment, and a lot of people struggle working with white pigment because, as you can see on the screen, it's quite grainy. This is pure pigment, so that means that it has no fillers or anything like that to smooth it out and make it easier to use, but it also means that it goes a really long way and it's got nothing to negatively affect the chemistry of your products either. That means it can be used with absolutely any system. To do the baby boomer nail, I like working with Love Marriage Prenup. This is an artistic color gloss color. It is quite dark, or like quite vibrant for a baby boomer. Normally a baby boomer would be a bit of a lighter pink, but a client of mine suggested this once, and although I thought it was a bad idea at the time, it turned out really, really nice. So I've always suggested Love Marriage Prenup to future clients ever after. I also use a very old purple brush, so we don't sell the purple brushes anymore, or at this current time. I don't know if that will change later on, but I'll show you what a new one looks like, because this is a nice one. And for pigments and glitters, I use one that has been through the ringer. It is my glitter and pigment brush, so I actually want it to be like this because it holds the pigment better. So the reason it's got white on it is because I have already done one of these today. But usually I just clean it in between with monomer. So with the white pigment, what you're going to do is dip in and then straight into the lid and actually just mash it, which shockingly that's why the brush ends up like this. And to do the fade, start at the very tip and just tap, 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 tap. There's not a lot of pigment on my brush, I don't need a lot, and work from side to side and back towards the cuticle area. When you stop making an impact, go back and get some more. You can either dip and mash again, or I often just go back and get some mashings, some powder out of the lid, because I know it's already fine. Always go back to the tip and start again. You will have seen me talk about that in a lot of other ombre videos, but what we wanted to cover in this video today was more troubleshooting with the white pigment than anything else. So collecting more, and again always going back to the free edge and then working my way back. And to blend nicely, I tend to do a little bit of this sort of movement as well. So to even out the color and spread it out nicely, I will go from side to side, but to get that nice blend, I'll also go back. And I generally find that to get the nicest ombre, you want to go a lot further back with your white pigment than you think you do. So you're actually going sort of 4/5 of the way back, but that means that 1/3 of the nail is the darkest pink. 1/5. 1/5 is the brightest white, and everything in between is helping you get a seamless fade in between. So with no new product on my brush, I'm now just making sure that my blend is even. If you want to, you can make this even more even by adding a pink pigment coming back the other way. I personally prefer this look. A popular option for coming back with another color is Dreamin' Pink. You can see that mine is well loved. It is a shimmery powder rather than the matte white, so it's really popular to do this, but again, I kind of just prefer most of the time sticking with the white. I don't usually change my brush between because the amount of pigment that's on the brush should sort of disguise the white that's left behind. and I'll just fill in the cuticle area and then pull it back over some of the white. Now I did use a little bit too much pigment in this instance, so I'm just going to tap it off onto my towel. I tend to do the same thing in terms of cleaning my brush in between. I'll just wipe off a lot of the pigment and then come back to the nail to further blend. So when you are blending between two actual pigment colors, I find that you do have a need to go back with the original color as well. So I'm just mashing some more white. You can see it's a bit of a more complicated process. It's just a few extra steps, so that's one of the reasons I prefer to just do a nice blend first time. With a spill like this, which is entirely my fault for just having it under the nail, I'm just going to use a cuticle pusher to pick up the majority of the pink spots, and then the rest will blend into that pigment. You don't have to worry too much about it causing issues. They tend to just, I don't know, disappear into each other. Now, I normally recommend protecting all pigment work with a layer of clear correction gel. Correction gel is a thicker viscosity soak-off gel polish product, totally clear, although there are colored versions, and it just tends to be a little bit stronger than going straight on with just top coat. And so yeah, I don't use it with every single client, but pigment clients are definitely one that I choose to use it with fairly frequently. That cures for 30 seconds and then we will follow up with top coat. So these have now had top coat applied. I used artistic glossing gel, just keeping in line with the full system, and on the left you've got the one that I added Dreams in pink to, and on the right you've got one which is just the Love Marriage Prenup base with the white pigment fade. Both of them have a layer of correction gel and then a layer of glossing gel on top. So yeah, my tips with using white pigment are really just to make sure that you have a spare brush that you can mash with, that you mash the pigment into the lid to really break it down, and then that you're patient, that you always start at the free edge and work your way back really slowly, making sure to blend the ombre as you go. Any questions, always free for you to ask, and I will see you in another video, I'm sure.